inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 7:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 6:20 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of thunderstorms capable of producing waterspouts was located near Laguna Beach, moving northeast at 30 knots. Hazard: waterspouts possible, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source: radar indicated. Impact: waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Mugu, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, North San Clemente Island, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Santa Barbara Island, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and Western Malibu.
Southern California. Here is the latest from the National Weather Service. A special marine warning for the following inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 7:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 6:20 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of thunderstorms capable of producing waterspouts was located near Laguna Beach, moving northeast at 30 knots. Hazard: waterspouts possible, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source: radar indicated. Impact: waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Mugu, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, North San Clemente Island, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Santa Barbara Island, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and Western Malibu.
Here we go.
Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 8:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 7:42 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, and waterspouts was moving north to northwest across the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard: waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source: radar and spotter indicated. Impact: waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Mugu, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and Western Malibu.
A special marine warning for the following inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Mugu to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 8:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 7:42 p.m. Pacific Daylight daylight time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, and waterspouts was moving north to northwest across the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source, radar and spotter indicated. Impact, waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged and briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Magoo, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and western Malibu.
California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Magoo to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 10:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 8:38 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms will continue to be capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, gusty chaotic winds around 34 knots or greater, and waterspouts. Storms were moving north-northwest across the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, frequent lightning and small hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged and briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Magoo, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and western Malibu.
A special marine warning for the following inner waters from Point Magoo to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Magoo to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 10:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 8:38 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms will continue to be capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, gusty chaotic winds around 34 knots or greater, and waterspouts. Storms were moving north-northwest across the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, frequent lightning and small hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged and briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Magoo, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and western Malibu.
A special marine warning for the following inner waters from Point Magoo to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Magoo to San Mateo Point. California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 11:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 10:16 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms will continue to be capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, gusty chaotic winds around 34 knots or greater, and waterspouts. the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, frequent lightning and small hail. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Madu, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and western Malibu.
A special marine warning for the following inner waters from Point Madu to San Mateo Point, California, including Santa Catalina and Santa Barbara Islands. The National Weather Service in Oxnard has issued a special marine warning for inner waters from Point Madu to San Mateo Point, California, including Santa Catalina and Anacapa Islands, until 11:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. At 10:16 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, a cluster of strong thunderstorms will continue to be capable of producing frequent lightning, small hail, gusty chaotic winds around 34 knots or greater, and waterspouts. Storms were moving north-northwest across the inner waters of Los Angeles County. These storms will continue to redevelop over the next few hours. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, frequent lightning and small hail. Hazard, waterspouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater, and small hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Small craft could be damaged in briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include Catalina Island, Los Angeles Harbor, Point Madu, Dana Point, Anacapa Island, Point Dume, Avalon, Two Harbors, Alamitos Bay, Port of Los Angeles, Newport Harbor, Manhattan Beach, Rancho Palos Verde, and western Malibu.